Yeah, I was wondering what record mode this was in. It doesn't matter, I guess. So what do you think of the movie, Mike?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, all I heard was... Man, we went and tossed the whole house, and Scott found your secret stash of jewels and shit. He didn't even wake up.
That's not a nice car.
Yeah. He wouldn't put ants in my car. Yes, he would.
What are you doing by my car?
Hi, good night, Mike. Till next weekend and the next Walking Dead episode. Oh, you put the automatic starter in this?
Yeah, I've had it in there.
Oh, did you? Looks like we got some sprinkles. That must be the rain they promised.
You want to put that on eBay, see if it sells?
I can if you like.
Yeah, stick it on there so you can get a few bucks for it. So this is too new to go on something?
Well, I can tell right now it's a plastic lens. The housing is a newer style, 1960s and up. It's chrome, it's not nickel plated, so it's definitely not vintage. That wasn't too bad of a movie.
Little
Long-winded.
tweaked out. It was a little.
Yeah, they could have done without the music shit, but
Yeah.
they'd kept to a strictly 20s jazz.
Was that his most famous book?
Yeah, it was.
How come they didn't put the author down?
I don't know. Well, technically, it wasn't his work because that was a Hollywood screenplay. It was based on the work of F. Scott Fitzgerald, like they said at the end. But he didn't really write it that way. And he wasn't actually part of the original story either. Not personally. He was just writing a book about the people of that era and some of the things he saw.
What was he in a mental institution? Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah, because for alcoholism.
Oh.
A dry-out clinic, basically.
And the doctor made him. Did that really happen to Fitzgerald? Or?
No.
So they twisted it up a little bit.
Well, it's a Hollywood screenplay. It's not the actual book. That's the whole thing. The 20s in New York were full of people like Gatsby who, they got rich nearly overnight from nothing, basically, and all on nonsense.
Identity theft.
Buy. Stock can only go up. Not identity theft. No, not that way. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the stock market and the unbelievable bullshit that was going on for most of the 20s in the stock market. Just culminated in the Great Crash.
Well, that wouldn't happen for another 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, it happened.
7, 8 years later.
Yeah, October 1929.
This was 21, 22.
This is 1923, 24. Deer, see it? Little Bambi over there. There was one munching leaves right outside my door today. Didn't even run away when I came out of the house.
video paid for you by Skunk. That's what that ought to be. This advertisement paid for by Skunk.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with The Walking Dead. You were into, well, this is going to be the third episode coming up now tomorrow night, and we still don't have the plot of the series yet.
Lost fucking 10 or 15 people already.
I know. Well, at least last season, it was mostly about the governor and the battle against the town, all that shit, taking the prison. But what are they doing?
He's like the Swede. He'll come back.
Well, yeah, probably.
I'll find
This year, I'm not sure what it's about. Except surviving The Walking Dead, I guess. That maybe that's plot enough. Which it would be.
The governor's going to be like the Swede. He'll come back.
Yeah. It seems like they've been there for a considerable length of time by now, and
he ain't done with them by sight.
you're wondering why didn't they reinforce the fences better before now? Surely they knew after the farm the kind of swarms that could come against the fence.
Well, the farm didn't really have a fence like that, though.
And another thing I can't figure out is why are they screwing around with these little expeditions raiding department stores when they should be hitting the guard and military bases, of which I know there are more than one in Georgia. Because they need heavy weapons. And flamethrowers and mortars, things like that could really help them. And tanks. Definitely tanks.
Run them over.
Yeah. Exactly. In a situation where the numbers are too great for the fences, you just run them over. Crush them up.
Just drive around in a circle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Instead they're sitting there trying to grow food, which is fine, but you need to have a secure location first. I sure as hell would not be feeling secure in that prison or anywhere else with gigantic hordes of zombies outside, just moaning and trying.
This looks with like signs of life here.
I know, you don't usually see this, yeah.
It's like dark and creepy.
Yeah. Well, it's still dark and creepy. So you've noticed it's only really lit up in the front. Where it faces the street, it sees in the back, it's not so much.
God, the asbestos removal must be a nightmare.
It's all in the underground tunnels and everything.
Well, you know how they do it, right?
Yeah.
Spacesuits and vacuums and sandblasting.
Yep.
That's really what they do. They actually go in when they sandblast even the brick. Everything gets sandblasted. Yeah. And then it's all. Fibrosis. Oh, God.
Mesothelioma.
You or someone you know.
Yeah. Basically everybody. Because there was a time when, you made clothing out of stuff. Oven mitts. Bathroom, kitchen tiles and roof tiles. And your house was sheathed in aluminum. In my old neighborhood, I would say pretty much every single house in the neighborhood had asbestos tile on the outside of the house. Every one. Mike's house did, my house did, house next door to me on both sides. Now they're mostly hidden by various types of aluminum siding or vinyl siding, whatever, but it's all still there. Never removed.
Ships, I've seen how they do it. Go in with it looks like in the movie E.T. there.
Yeah.
And they have like hoses in their backs.
Yep.
Go all the way in with filter tanks, and after all the sandblasting and vacuuming is done, then they go in there and hose everything off.
Yep.
I've actually physically seen it though. That's how it's done. There are people who did that.
People had massive exposure to that stuff before the 1970s. Not just people who worked in that industry itself, of which there were thousands and thousands, but just everybody who went into buildings that were full of that crap, worked around and put fires out in buildings that were full of that crap, you know, worked in the railroad industry, the power plants, everything. Plumbers, millions of plumbers, you know, and heating contractors and shit who installed boilers in houses and wrapped all the pipes with asbestos. Gesundheit. And the Navy, and the Merchant Marine.
All the ships, yeah.
Yes. The Air Force. And the Army.
All the military buildings.
Yeah, oh yes. Well, military equipment used asbestos. The automotive industry used a tremendous amount of asbestos.
In the brakes?
Yeah, not just there. It was used anywhere where there needed to be a heat barrier. You'll find it sandwiched underneath, you know, intake manifolds. You'll find it around exhaust pipes and shit. It's all over the place. Fortunately, the idea of asbestos clothing didn't really catch on. But I'm sure some people did buy it. Look at my new suit, honey. It's made from modern asbestos. Excuse me. I have a little tickle in my throat. What, you got a cold?
I'm gonna die like that kid on The Walking Dead.
There you go. Make sure you lock yourself in first.
Yeah. I got asbestos from Wingdale.
Yeah. Now I wonder who did the murder.
Oh, yeah, right. You think it was the guy with the one leg?
No, definitely not him.
Well, it wasn't the black guy, obviously.
No, not him.
Definitely was.
He probably wasn't anybody from the old crew, in other words, you know, Daryl and all the others.
Oh, I bet you it was the Indian doctor. The Hindu Indian.
I don't know. He had to be somebody strong enough to overpower two people, drag their corpses outside and set them on fire. That's not going to be any, you know, it's not going to be like a woman or a kid or anything like that. It's going to be somebody strong enough to do it,
And you
or
don't,
more than one
you'll
person.
never know if she was actually sick and gonna die.
That's the problem. That's what they needed to know.
Wrap those buildings completely in plastic.
Yeah.
When they sandblast, that's why I'm surprised. Or they may have already done that.
Don't know. Or they just haven't even started yet.
They shouldn't even be in there working. You know?
Yeah.
But that's what they do. They wrap the whole building in plastic, just like in what was it, Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
When they took the nanny cam out.
Oh, it's possible they may have already removed the asbestos years ago. I don't know. Because I know some of those buildings did appear to be gutted, at least on the videos. And they may be doing I know the one place they probably didn't is in the tunnels underground. That's where the bulk of it is going to be, is underground. In those underground tunnels,
Right.
where all the steam pipes and shit.
Right, yeah.
Not so much inside the building.
Yeah, it's going to be in the lagging. Ugh.
So they may not have to, either may not have to sheet the whole building for that, or they might have already done it.
Because usually they do. It's like, what was it, Breaking Bad, when they surround the house with plastic
Yeah.
for the fumigating. That's how they do the asbestos removal. They go in the spacesuits, and it's not heavy sandblasting. It's like a light on the brick. But then if it's on metal, steam lagging, pipes, and all that, that's where the real. And then after it's all done and vacuumed and you know all sucked out of there, then.
And they're probably going to seal the tunnels off anyway. They may just do that, leave the asbestos in place to seal the tunnels up. Because they did not buy the property across the street where the steam plant was. So however they're going to heat those buildings, it's going to be something more modern than a giant steam plant. do something else. A lot of dead critters on the side of the road tonight.
Yeah. That's nasty shit. Fucking out of that asbestos.
Oh yeah, it'll fuck you up good. And the scrap metal industry.
Mm-hmm.
We were exposed to it too.
What about the World Trade Centers?
Yeah, definitely. They were built in the late 60s, early 70s. Somewhere in those buildings, there would have been asbestos. Pitter-pattering here? Yeah, it is. Yeah, look at it.
I did not see the weather. All I do know is, well, it's supposed to be like this.
Yeah.
I wonder why they didn't tear any of the buildings down.
Because there were plans to use the structures for condominiums at one time. And before that, there just wasn't any money for it. That was a state facility. They just closed it, but the state's been broke since then, and they just, simply can't spend the money to do the tremendous part of which being the asbestos removal is very expensive, and just disposing of the rubble. So it's the kind of thing they wouldn't have done it unless they had absolutely no choice.
What about now?
Even now, it's, well, there's nothing wrong with the bones of the structures. That's built from brick. That's made to last an eternity. It's not going anywhere. So it's probably cheaper for them simply to rehab the interiors, use the shells, and they have their campus, And there's enough buildings for a campus there.
Science building.
And it looks old school, A lot of universities like to project that image.
Everybody's gonna know it was a nut house.
Oh yeah, they will. It'll be legendary up there. By all the new students will hear about it when they come in if they don't know already. The psychology department will have all kinds of fun with it.
Yep. When it's all open, you want to go for a tour?
Not particularly.
Why not?
It's a negative place. I don't really want to go near negative places. It's not a nice place.
Knowing what really...
Yeah. And what might follow you home from there. No. Just as soon stay away from that fucking shit. That was a place of massive human suffering. I mean, just... the things they did to people to try to so-called cure them. And sometimes they weren't even sick when they went in there. They were sent there for any number. You could be an unwed mother who happens, who happened to be pregnant, and you can get locked up for that.
When did that place open? 1880s?
1870s, I believe it was. Late 1870s.
Right after the Civil War.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
So that was the construction started right after the Civil War.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, but around there somewhere. They warehoused people for mental retardation, for any number of things. All you had to do was just be somebody, get on somebody's shit list, the wrong somebody, and you could end up in a place like that. Rich men would have their inconvenient wives locked up for, all sorts of reasons. So they could have more time with a girlfriend, And people with legitimate psychological problems. Some people go in there sane and be made insane, just lobotomized and tortured in the name of psychology and
science and research.
And the criminally insane we put in those places too. Now, I'm not sure that was ever used as a sanitarium. There may have been some of that going on there too. Locking sick people up because they were dangerous to the public, whether they wanted to be locked up or not, until they died.
What I tell you, work in sanitation, not a sanitarium.
Yeah.
There's probably still people left around who used to work there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Dominic's wife is still alive. Best I heard, anyway. She had a stroke years ago.
What'd she do there?
She was a nurse.
Did you ever hear stories?
Yes.
Oh.
She told me once, right out one of her more lucid moments, she told me that if you knew what we let out of that place when we closed it, you wouldn't sleep at night. Exactly what she said. She was dead serious when she said it. Betty.
How old is she now?
She would be probably pushing up on 80. I gotta remember, that place closed
in 80.
In 87.
Oh, I thought it was 80.
No,
81.
1987 it closed. It was one of the last to close. And, there were plenty of people there at the time working who were in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. They're still around, plenty of them. Doctors, orderlies, nurses,
Why did I think 79?
and patients. Well, a lot of them started closing in that era.
Because I thought when the minute Reagan came in.
No, they didn't all close immediately. I mean, it took a while. And it didn't close because of Ronald Reagan. They closed because of funding cuts. Yeah, little animal over there. Son, yeah. They closed due to funding cuts. The state simply couldn't afford to keep them open anymore. Massive rise in healthcare costs, everything else.
So what was that called? Wingdale Psychiatric Center?
Harlem Valley Psychiatric Center.
Right.
And you had Wassaic right up the line. And plenty more.
Oh, there's another one right up in Wassaic?
Oh, yeah, yes, there was. That one, I think, is still actually partly open.
You remember that movie, The Green Mile?
Yep.
Where they're going to send Percy. Percy here says he's putting in for a transfer.
Yeah.
And then he ends up going there.
Yeah.
Like how the camera slowly backs off and they show it. That big guy, Michael J. Clark, what did he die of?
Heart attack, I believe.
Jumped in the
There's some little critter over there. All the nighttime critters are out.
as I don't get skunked. I already got, well, he was already been dead, but stinking up the whole key. I'm like, wow. And I drove by like 3 times. What is that called? Video number 3 or something?
Video 3.
Video 3, paid for.
No, that was Terry video you're talking about.
Yeah.
Video 3 was the guy blowing past you on the hill.
Oh. He looked a lot faster sitting in the car than watching on video.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get a hold of Sony and see what they charge for a battery.
Get a good one?
Yeah. I mean, I can get a $19 battery on eBay. I already had one of those. I'm sure it'll turn up somewhere, but it never worked very well because it's unable to communicate with the camera to let the camera know how much juice it's got left. So all of a sudden, it just fucking shuts the camera down, and when that happens, you lose whatever. If you're happily filming, you lose it. It's all gone. It doesn't save it. Well, the regular battery in here will communicate with the camera because it's made by Sony. It's their own battery. And I looked on eBay. There must have been 3,000-4,000 batteries on there. Some of them say outright that they are, made replacement for from China, Hong Kong, wherever, cheapies.
Yeah. You dare jump out in front of my car.
Oh, yeah. And some of them pretend to be Sony batteries. And I'm holding the battery from this camera, and I'm looking very closely at the labeling and shit, and it's just a little bit off. You can tell.
Yeah.
And it's not quite what it's supposed to be. Fucking counterfeits. Because I know a Sony battery is close to $100. I know that. It's going to be $75, $80.
What do the knockoffs cost?
$19, $20, sometimes even cheaper. And they work. I mean, they have the juice. They'll keep the camera running. But
So just go to Radio Shack and pick one up?
no, I'll get a hold of Sony itself. A Sony dealer, and see if I can see what they want for a battery. Maybe an extended run battery to last a little longer. I mean, this battery's not too bad. It holds enough juice for at least an hour of shooting, maybe an hour and a half. Depends on how much shooting I do.
What?
I mean, it usually takes us 39 minutes, approximately, to get from Mike's house to my place, going up there or coming back. And the camera has enough, the battery holds up fine for that. And it still has plenty of juice. Like, I've probably been shooting for close to 25 minutes now, and I'm still getting full bars. The battery's still fully charged, or close to it. They last longer in these cameras because there's no moving parts. All it's doing is generating power for the digital storage and the LED screen. That's it. There's no movie lights. There's no little motors turning tape and all that shit like there used to be with the old DV cameras and the VHS cameras. So it doesn't take a really humongous amount of battery to do that. But with that other battery, I was always guesstimating on how long I could leave it in the camera. When it started to show like almost halfway, I knew it was getting close to the end. I had to take it out. This one I can run it right down until there's only one bar, and I know it's not going to shut off. And then when it gets down to where it's about to really shut off, it communicates that to the camera, and the camera automatically saves whatever you're doing. And it starts to flash. You can see it'll warn you. Much more fucking convenient. Oh, a cop.
What's he dragging?
I don't know. Some kind of fucking
Leaves or something, or a branch.
Branch. It's too bad the Sony DV camera batteries don't work with this. And they're too big. Because I had an extended run battery for that I bought special.
Start lighting fires down at the shop.
Old man had one going this morning.
Oh yeah.
We don't have the new pipe in yet. It's only a little fire for a little while, but they have one going. We have the pipe. Wayne's going to put it up pretty soon, so we'll be lighting them again. Brave the light.
Yep.
Okay. We'll find out.
Well, I think maybe they fixed it.
Uh-oh. It's red.
Oh, we'll trip it. Well, it's supposed to be a trip light. It's supposed to trip right about now.
We'll find out.
Oh, there we go.
Yep, there we go.
Oh.
Hey, another Foxy.
Yeah, I've been seeing them all over.
Yeah.
Boy, that glass is still there. A lot less, though.
Watch out for Bambi going up the hill. 'Cause I know Bambi's around. So right outside my door. Alrighty.
All right, I should be around.
Yep. Until next week.